play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
He played with Bobby Mack, literally had a nervous breakdown the entire round, and by the time they got to the fourth hole, he was losing by a stroke. It was, you think Tommy Fleetwood's a train wreck. You should have seen what this poor guy went through yesterday playing with him.
Yeah, you know what I want to say in this too? Like, the winner ggets the entire pot of earnings.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Paige Beckers. She does it night in, night out. She's been absolutely fantastic for a Dallas Wings team that really isn't going anywhere. We'll see what happens in regards to where they're going to end up in the WNBA draft, because obviously, if they win it, they're probably looking at our buddy, AZ Fudd, to be drafted next year.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season.
And welcome in. It is in-game live game day on a wonderful Wednesday. Scott Wetzel and Gabriel Morency for the next 2 glorious hours, right up until 10 p.m. Eastern time, watching, analyzing, betting on the world of sports. Lot to get to tonight. Dodgers go for the sweep. Is the Mets collapse continuing tonight? We got the Astros, Blue Jays round 2 after that thriller last night that, oh, by the way, we gave you a winner with. Our sucker line of the night turned into a gift for the boys in Vegas as creation is going on in Atlanta right now. We'll get to that. But my partner in crime, but also 5 on the line, SGP, Black Cloud, my partner in crime, Mr. Morency, who I wasn't sure was going to be here tonight because I figured he'd still be counting his winnings from last night because we had a pretty good night game last night, including many picks that you gave out. So nice job last night. Let's continue with tonight.
I guess the LA Sparks did not roll over last night, Scott, after all. They won the game outright. And the Seattle Storm win the game, but don't cover the number as well. Yeah, we ended with a bang last night on the show. A couple of WNBA wins, Boston Red Sox, LA Dodgers, and as you say, to the Toronto Blue Jays with an epic comeback last night late. They're down 1-0 right now. Scott, I pulled the trigger on the San Francisco Giants earlier in the day today. It was down to plus 550, and they played an afternoon game. So I thought, all right, if they win this game, you know, the number's going to go down again here. With every win, obviously, it goes down. So, of course, I put the bet in, Scott, and they get drilled. But suddenly I've got a betting interest in the New York Met games. Like you just stated, will the Mets collapse continue? Sort all the Met fans tuning in and the Met fans working with us tonight at the station. But I think a collapse is coming. So if the Mets lose tonight, I don't lose any ground, and I'm still 2 games back with the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah. Tough one for the Giants. You know, it would have been nice to get that win this afternoon. That's why I hate midweek afternoon games. I say it all the time on the podcast and different shows I do here. It's just this normalcy is not there. You know, the catchers don't normally catch. The pitchers who pitched last night, who normally could go back to back, don't go back to back. I really don't either. I won't say I never do because, there's never in betting, right? But as a general rule, you know what? I have no interest whatsoever in these midweek afternoon games.
The other one that I'm not a big fan of, Scott, there's 2 days in a week in baseball I don't like, Wednesdays and Sundays. And they're very similar. Yeah. Wednesdays become this getaway day. I've told people this before, covering Major League Baseball teams. day games, they don't take batting practice. And oftentimes they don't take batting practice. You've got, like Scott just said, the backup catchers in, the utility, this and that. They shake things up, and, it just breaks the routine. I mean, they're supposed to be there basically 5 hours before first pitch. They're not going to make players get there at 6 a.m. type deal, 8 a.m. or whatnot. So players, they have different rules, like according to the CBA, for these day games, and guys usually roll in like 2 hours before the game type of deal. Scott, some of them might take some swings under the, in their own little batting cage that they have under the tunnels, etc. But you're right. I'm not a fan of day games either. And that's why I was frustrated. I was like, son of I should have, these stupid day games, and they lost. So I'm not a fan of them either. But you see, every Wednesday night now, Scott, we got a really light baseball schedule because Wednesdays become their new getaway day.
Yeah. It's like a combination Wednesday, Thursday, right? So, they play 162 games, and I would say 130, 135 are at night. About 25 to 30 are during the day. It's just like you get into routine, and when you break that routine, it just, it throws a variable into the equation. Nothing worse for a gambler than a variable. You want consistency.
The other one is Sundays. Sundays too, Scott. So Sunday you get the getaway day, but also Sundays, like, athletes don't go out every night. Like I think some people think every NBA player is at a strip club every night after the game type of deal, right? Some guys go out, some guys don't, right? But Major League Baseball teams, think about it. You get into town, you're playing a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series. You're from Cleveland. You're playing in LA. You're playing in San Francisco. You're playing in New York. You don't think you're going out? And what are you going out? You're not going out on that Thursday night when you just pulled in at 1 a.m. or whatnot, right?
Yeah.
You're not going so it's Friday. You're not going out Friday afternoon before the Friday game. You're not going out Sunday night because you're leaving after the game. So when do you go out? Saturday. So those Sunday afternoon, guys, keep your eye on that. I'm telling you, there's little tricks to this. Those Sunday afternoon games, when teams are in certain cities, it can catch up to them. But I swear, Scott, you'll like this as a Celtics. From a Celtics perspective, years ago I was at a bar in Toronto, and it was literally like 3 a.m, and Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce were outside the bar talking smack to like fans and stuff, like having fun with it. People are like, "You're gonna get killed, man! It's 3 a.m. Hey, KG, what's up, bro?" Like, big mob outside the bar. They were super cool, laughing it up, taking pictures with people and stuff, And somebody said, "Man, I'm going to bet big on the Raptors tomorrow. You guys are hammered. It's like 3 a.m." And KG looks over. He goes, "You think this is the first time we've done this?" He said, "We'll be fine." And everyone started laughing. Celtics rolled them, Scott. Celtics rolled them. The way KG said, he goes, "Hey, dog, you think this is the first time we've ever gone out before a game?" And then started laughing. And another time, Scott, I was in a bar late night. I didn't go to these type of nightclubs often, but I was in a nightclub once, and it's like same thing. It was real late at night. I look over and I'm like, man, there's Chris Paul. All the New Orleans Hornets are there. They all have their shirts off. They're all dancing with girls and stuff. And they were playing the Raptors, literally, Scott, like at 12:30 in the afternoon in Toronto, the next morning type of deal. And we're like, oh, wow. We're all looking over. Hey, man, and I'm with a bunch of bettors. And I'm like, yeah, I was with a bunch of bookies even. And they're all chuckling. Hey, look. And I said to them, man, you guys better move the number, man. The Hornets are partying hard here tonight. And the bookie looks at me and he goes, "Yeah, look who's with them. It was Chris Bosh and Oakley and all the Raptors."
Same thing, right?
They were all together, Scott. It was funny. Look who's with them. I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right. There's Chris Bosh. You're right. Like,
Better
well,
keep
it is what
where
it is. Yeah. And last quick one. You'll get a kick out of this. Another one in Toronto. I used to go out a lot, all right? So another one in Toronto. I used to go to this after hours bar, late night type thing. Esteban Loaiza was there, and this is my buddy was there, and he told a story. So Esteban Loaiza is there. It's like 5 a.m, literally. So it's like 4 or 5 a.m, and he's got 2 beers in each hand. So he's like double fisting. He's got 4 drinks in his hand, Scott, and he's at the bar, just playing pool and laughing it up. It's like 5 a.m. My buddy goes, "Hey, Esteban, how you doing, man?" He goes, "You're pitching tomorrow, huh?" And Esteban looks at him and goes, "No, man, I pitched today. It's like 5 a.m. We hammer it. He tells everyone, "Listen, I'm telling you guys, Esteban Loaiza is in no condition to pitch tonight." We all like hammer it. We bet against the Toronto Blue Jays. We even went to the game, Scott, even. Esteban Loaiza, word of no lie, bro. He threw like 8 innings, a one-hit ball.
That's amazing.
He's sweating it out on the hill, and like he's laboring after every pitch. Strike. We won because the Blue Jays bullpen blew it. Moral of the story is, if you ever see a player out at 4 a.m, don't automatically bet against them. They do it a lot.
Yeah, there's an old gambling story. I forget who it was. Some book, some long time. Maybe it's all folktale. Who knows? But I remember a similar story. Like the gamblers would take this is old school. I remember reading. Like they would take the starting pitcher and the players out, and there was a situation where they took the starting pitcher.
That's true, right? Scott, to some extent.
And he pitched great. Yeah.
I lived in Vegas, and Hawaii were big favorites against UNLV years ago. Floyd Mayweather brought them all to a strip club and comped them all, and they lost.
Yeah. Go figure, right? Go figure. All right, 5 on the line coming up next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
All right, welcome back. In-game live game day here on the grid. Baseball tonight, the focus. We got one WNBA game and really a crazy. We'll play a little fun, the little Hall of Fame game in baseball, Hall of Fame or not. We'll get to that in a second. First up, though, we got 5 trends. We only got 3 games, but we squeezed 5 trends out of them. 5 on the line are 5 best trends for tonight. Coming up. All right, here we go. We're going to use 2 in one game 2 times. We're going to start with San Diego and Cincinnati. All right. San Diego, Cincinnati combined 162 and 115, along with 13 pushes under this year. That's a whopping 40 plus more unders than overs. So let's go under 7.5, Cincinnati and San Diego. Same game, San Diego, even though they did lose at home, we didn't know that still. San Diego 13-3 against Cincinnati at home. It's a pretty good record. So let's throw in San Diego as well. I don't think they're going to lose 2 out of 3 against the Reds, who have really struggled anyway. Coming into this game, 6-12, their last 18. So let's take the Padres there. You see minus the 148 against Cincinnati. Play number 3. This is it's a trend, so we'll throw it out there. Nothing crazy, but Colorado is 42, 26-2 under on the road this year. 16 more unders than overs on the road. So it's been an under series so far, 2-0 under. Give me under 8.5 Colorado against the LA Dodgers. You're going to play the Dodgers game? You got to play LA, right? Dodgers now 14-2 their last 16 games against Colorado. They just don't lose to the Rockies. They just don't. So I'll give you the minus 335. Do what you want with it. You want to lay a run and a half. That for more times than not, I think 12 out of those 14 games, they've won by 2 runs or more. But for our purposes, LA minus the 335 against Colorado as our number 2 play. And that leaves us with only one, the creme de la creme, coup de grace, numero uno, number 1 trend for tonight. It's the Seattle Mariners. They're laying fat wood, that is for sure. 2 and change against St. Louis, but they're now 13-2. The Mariners last 15 at home, won 4 in a row. Turn things around here a little bit. So where we going to go? Number 1 trend play, Seattle minus the 215 against the St. Louis Cardinals. So our 5 on the line. We're 50 games plus over 500. So hopefully, if you would have played those last night, you would have hit all of them. You would have hit all, believe it or not. So hopefully, we go another 4-1, 5-0 tonight with our 5 on the line. Interesting thing, Gabe.
I didn't play.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I didn't play the parlay last night with Seattle, but Seattle are smoking hot right now at home. So the parlay would have won. I think the parlay probably hits tonight, but I'll just lay the run and a half with the Dodgers. Listen, Freeland was the pitcher, if you recall, with the whole Devers and the whole brouhaha with San Francisco when Devers hit the home run. Freeland took exception to it, got kicked out of the game. So he actually pitched a couple of days after because he didn't pitch much in that game. He had 10 strikeouts. Freeland after the fact. So one thing, speaking of trends, this will surprise people actually. And I do like the Dodgers tonight. And Freeland struggles against the Dodgers. He's 5-11 in his career with a 4.8 earned run average. But Freeland has his strikeout prop tonight, guys, is 3.5. Freeland actually has 4 more strikeouts in 5 of his last 7 games. He also actually, if you dig deeper, it's 6 of his last 9. So, and he's coming off a 10K performance. So it's not like, the Dodgers can win this game and cover the 1.5, but I'm going to surprise people here, and I'm actually going to be betting on Kyle Freeland over strikeout props tonight, over 3.5. We're getting plus money as well at plus 115. But as Scott stated, the Dodgers have been dominant against the Rockies, and the Rockies are bad. Let's not overthink things, Scott. We can talk about trends and this and that, but looking back on things, you go, man, we just witnessed 2 of the worst baseball teams in the history of the game. How did we not just bet against them all the time? The White Sox last year and the Rockies. The Rockies are historically bad. They're amongst the worst teams of all time. Their last 18 games, they've won 3 times, right? They're 3-15 in their last 18 games. So I would expect the Dodgers to roll tonight. We'll lay the 1.5 with the Dodgers. We'll play the Freeland over. 3.5 strikeouts, Scott, plus 115. And Ohtani's home run tonight is only plus 190. He's super due to hit one. I know he hit 2 over the weekend in 1 game, but in the last 14 games, Ohtani only has home runs in 2 of them. All right, he had 2 home runs against Baltimore in a game, and he had one game about a week ago where he had 1 home run. So in the last 2 weeks, he's hit 3 home runs and only in 2 of the games. And in 8 career at-bats, he's got 2 home runs against Freeland. So I like my percentages here. Give me Ohtani to hit a home run tonight.
How about this line? Play a little pop quiz with you. I won't tell you who it is. You might be able to figure it out. But you tell me what his pitching strikeout number was tonight. The last times he's pitched, he had 9 again. He was hurt. Before that, 7, 11, 10, 8, 6, 8, 8, 10, 10. What do you think they gave us tonight for that pitcher?
5.5.
Yeah, not far off. 6.5. Chris Sale was 6.5 tonight, Gabe. He's had 7, 8, 9, 10 strikeouts every single time, right? And you know how many he has now? 8. He had 8 through the first 3 innings. So sometimes you look at lines and you're like, there's sucker lines, right? But it wasn't a sucker line. I mean, he has 8 through 3, for goodness sake. He's on pace for 20 strikeouts tonight. I don't know why it was 6.5 tonight.
The Connor Early kid last night, Scott, you said it was, 4.5 last night. He had 11.
Yeah.
He actually tied the Boston Red Sox all-time franchise record for most strikeouts by a pitcher in his debut. Didn't realize he was a former Army Black Knight pitcher. He played NCAA baseball for Army. But, yeah, this kid looks like the real deal. Great performance last night. 11 strikeouts, and the prop was 4.5.
Yeah, amazing. So, but at least that was, a pitcher. They don't know, really how he's going to do in his major league debut. You got, obviously, a whole slew of Chris Sale. Why it was 6.5, I don't know. What is that crazy number? Great.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Like it or not, 18-year-olds dropped with a whole heck of a lot of money in there. Boy, I tell you, it changes people, Donnie, and it's a new reality that we better get used to in college football because look at the kid from UCLA, former Tennessee quarterback, making millions of dollars. You really think he cares? They got absolutely embarrassed and trounced.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. It is In-Game Live Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number 1. Third segment, actually, hour number 1. Time for our SGP Same Game Parlay. Yeah, playing with house money because we hit our SGP last night with the Red Sox, the over Red Sox. We had Story and Bregman getting singles, and then early their pitcher getting over 4.5 strikeouts. So a nice little 6.5 or so to 1. Cha-ching, cha-ching. You see there plus 644 it was yesterday. So for the rest of the week, we're playing with house money. So we'll do a little goofiness tonight. We're going to take the Dodgers. Why not, right? Minus the 335. Won't get too crazy. Lay the 1.5, even though I think they will win by 2 runs. Let's go Dodgers minus the 335. We'll go over 5.5 runs, Dodgers. I just think they're due for one of those 12-3 type of wins. I don't think they're going to not have one of those in this series. We'll use Mookie Betts. You got Freeland, the lefty on the hill, so let's use the righty Betts tonight. 1 RBI, 2 bases. Then we'll use Ohtani to score a run. Figured he's going to bat first, and Betts will drive him in, minus 220. And this is the one that bumps it up to over 10.5 to 1. 4th inning, we need a tie. The game doesn't need to be tied. Just that 4th inning needs to be tied at minus 135. So hopefully it's 0-0 or 1-1. Doesn't really matter actually, but more than likely 0-0. And that little SGP, we turn a Dodger 335 favorite into a 10.5 to 1 parlay. Goes way up, yeah.
Consistent with it, and as you stated, you're playing with house money. Listen, Mookie Betts has been better, and I'm a big Mookie Betts fan. So, like, I'll die on the grave with Mookie Betts. People were criticizing him earlier in the year. It's like, chill out, dude. Who cares? Like, if he's struggling in July, right? He'll be fine. But interestingly enough, he does struggle against Freeland. He's 205 career hitter, and he's faced him a lot, actually. 39 career at-bats, which is quite a lot in the modern era to see a pitcher. He's got 8 hits. He does have 2 home runs, Scott. You know who's where I was talking about Max Muncy, he's a big deal in the Dodgers lineup. You know who another really key player is to them, who they've missed a lot this year? And you saw last year in the playoffs how important he was, because he's one of the rare players that really can. You can plug him in anywhere. You can play him at any position. Tommy Edman.
Hernandez?
Tommy Edman,
yeah.
Yeah, Tommy Edman's back right now. So Tommy Edman is back. I don't know, will it take them a while to get going? I don't know. We see players come back off the injured list and light it up in their first game back often in baseball. But I bring it up just because Edman is hitting .417 against Freeman. He's got 2 home runs and 12 at-bats, actually, and 5 hits. What else he's got? How many? Look at here, actually. Freddie Freeman, Scott, has struck out 12 times against Freeland. I said I like the strikeout prop, but remember you and I talk about like the player strikeout prop? No one ever really talks about that and bets it.
Yeah.
Remember we hit it with Tatis? I'm going to see what Freddie Freeman, his strikeout prop is tonight. Like, he struck it out 12 times in his career against Freeland. Lefty on lefty, too, right? It could be a disadvantage for me. I want to see the numbers, Scott. I'm digging deep here tonight, bro.
Yeah, really. It's kind of weird. Like, it's so much success against Colorado that you would think all these guys against all the Freeland's been there a little while too, but I know for some goofy reason. They're very, very weird.
Teoscar Hernandez really had to see him. Like, Max Muncy's seen him 28 times. He's hitting .250 against him. I mentioned Shohei Ohtani only has 8 at-bats, and Ohtani's terrorized him. 2 home runs, 4 RBIs. But for the most part, there's a lot of – remember last night I picked my poison, Scott, last night. I said Marquez has given up a home run in 7 straight starts. He gave up multiple home runs tonight, but Muncy wasn't the one. It was like everybody else did. And you look at the numbers here, and and you look at the numbers here, Scott, there's a lot of guys have hit home runs against them. Like, Betts has 2 home runs against him. Edman has 2 home runs against him. Ohtani has 2 home runs against him. Hell, Will Smith's got a home run against him. Andy Paw has only faced him 4 times, 4 at-bats. He's got a home run against him. So I'm not opposed to playing a couple of Dodgers to hit home runs tonight. Like Scott said, they're kind of due to explode as well. The question is, you almost have to take like 4 of them, Scott, or otherwise you get frustrated.
Right. Yeah. The good news is you don't really need to hit 1 to break even, right? And then you hit 2 or 3, then obviously you're making a whole lot of money. So I'm going to go right back to the well on a winner we had last night because it's kind of a similar situation. Mets and Phillies. The Mets are losing again. Wow.
Good.
Down 4-1.
I'm on the Giants.
Top of the sixth.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Let's go over 7.5 Mets and Phillies. I think we're going to get some more runs tonight. Coach,
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Like it or not, 18-year-olds dropped with a whole heck of a lot of money in there. Boy, yeah. I tell you, it changes people, Donnie, and it's a new reality that we better get used to in college football because look at the kid from UCLA, former Tennessee quarterback, making millions of dollars. You really think he cares? They got absolutely embarrassed and trounced.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
all right, welcome back. It is in-game live game day here on the grid. So we got a couple baseball bets in, so we'll let that simmer a little bit to let it germinate and see if we can get some winners. And we'll get back to that in a second. But we have one WNBA game, and then we got the playoffs. Regular season closes out this week, and then we get the playoffs starting this weekend. So let's bring in the coach, Mr. James Young, talk a little WNBA. What's going on, Coach? How are you this Wednesday evening?
I'm good, Scotty. Obviously one game in the W tonight. Some of them are really, tonight and maybe one or two games tomorrow really have any kind of significance. So you got to bet kind of carefully as you come down the stretch here because not a lot of games mean a lot tomorrow.
Yeah, we got all 8 teams in. We figured that all out last night. And Gabe and I, one of our pet peeves with this game, we'll start with Atlanta and Connecticut just to see if they have any action. They're meeting for the third time in 10 days. I can't tell you how many times Gabe and I have said that over the last month and a half. The WNBA schedule, I don't know what bird brain makes it up, Coach, but no team should be playing another team 3 times in a 9-day span or 10-day span when you only have 13 teams, 12 teams, whatever it ends up being. It's just, anyway, it is what it is. So Atlanta's going for the sweep. They could win. Las Vegas loses tomorrow. They get the number 2 seed to face probably Golden State. If they should lose tonight or Las Vegas, wins, then they get the number 3 seed to face Indiana. I can make the case that, I think I'd rather face a wounded Indiana team than I would a Golden State team. What about you?
Yeah, listen, I think obviously the Golden State Valkyries, number one, if you get into a series and you lose home court, the Golden State Valkyries could have the best home court advantage in the WNBA. I think they sold out of every game, all 22 games, and may have set a WNBA record in regards to attendance, especially for a first-year franchise. So, yeah, Coach Nikasi, who should be Coach of the Year, has done a tremendous job with that team. Now, you got to remember, it's tricky. So Atlanta wins tonight, which we expect them to. if there's anything you bet tomorrow, it's probably the Aces in the first half tomorrow, because you expect them to jump out to a big lead, get comfortable, rest the starters, rest the way, because then the winner of, if they were to win, they get 2, Atlanta gets 3, Phoenix 4, and then 5 New York. As regards to 6, 7, 8, it gets a little murkier as well. So a big game tomorrow is going to be the Valkyries. I think they're getting 6.5 points, if I'm not mistaken, versus the Minnesota Lynx. Minnesota Lynx have not looked good as of late, so I don't even think they're winning the championship, to be honest with you. So I think I'm going to do what I did with Seattle when they won last night. I'm going to take the 6.5 points with the Valkyries. I actually think there could be a chance they could steal that game, because if they win, they get the 6th seed. And then you're looking at the fact that if you're Golden State, even though you've beaten the Aces, if the Aces are 2, you want no part of the Aces the way they're playing right now. I'd rather get the 3 seed, take my chances on Atlanta. So that's something to watch out tonight. So watch the games tonight, and that should dictate how you bet the games tomorrow.
I think there's a better chance of me signing a contract with the LA Sparks than there is of them beating the Las Vegas Aces tomorrow. Like the Aces, they need the game. They're going to wrap it up, right? This team is smoking hot.
I agree, but my concern is.
And I was on LA last night too. Yeah. I was on LA last night too. But now LA now do know they're eliminated. But I told everybody, Coach and Scott, like 2 months ago, whatever. I said, don't sleep on Vegas. They were like literally 12-1. Mm-hmm. And we had the guy on from Cover, Scott, they're this, they're that, they're not the same, and this and that. And well, here they are right now. And I think they're the most feared team in the WNBA right now, at least in my opinion. And, Coach, you just said you don't think Minnesota's even going to win, let alone like at plus 110 right now. That's ridiculous. I think all 3 of us would agree. I don't believe the New York Liberty are going to win. I know Wetzel doesn't think the New York Liberty are going to win. I can't speak for you, Coach, but I'm scratching the Liberty. I think the Liberty are going to lose to the Phoenix Mercury in the first round. Atlanta are a nice story. They're not good enough to win the title. Seattle aren't winning the title. Like, it's a process of elimination here. Like, to me, it's the Aces, and I'd say the Mercury are pretty good odds at 14-1. But, guys, give me the Aces, Coach, at plus 350 to win the championship. Who are you going to take?
Well, right now you would take the Aces because of the simple fact of you could have 3 of the – if you look at the best teams in the WNBA, okay, and no disrespect, to Atlanta, okay? If the top 4 teams, in no particular order, are the Aces, are the Lynx, are the Mercury, and are the Liberty. 3 of those 4 teams are going to be on one side of the bracket. So to me, like, yes, I think the Liberty are going to beat Phoenix because they're finally whole. They finally have everyone playing. I got to see them tomorrow. They're kind of flaky. Remember, 2 of the 3 games they lost to the Phoenix Mercury during the year. First game was the game that Jonquel Jones got hurt, was knocked out. And then the second game, she did not play. Satu Sabally has not been the same player the last 3 to 4 weeks, although Alyssa Thomas has been great. But that being said, if the Liberty get by the Mercury, I think whoever plays the Lynx are going to give them a war. I think the pathway for the Aces is the best pathway. So to me, I'm getting a team at plus 350 that's won 14 games in a row, playing the best basketball of the year. I would put the money on the Aces because all the better teams are on the other side of the bracket.
I can make the case that I hope the Liberty. I agree, Gabe. I don't think they're even going to win the first round. I don't, but I hope they do, Coach, because then it's almost like I think Minnesota's going to win. I'm going to say that, and I have a little flyer as Gabe does on Golden State at 150-1, right? But they have such a chip on their shoulder after last year, and obviously a huge part of that chip is it was New York. If New York's taken out of the equation, I know it sounds goofy, but it's almost like the Lynx are like, fudge. We wanted to beat the snot out of New York. We wanted to get revenge on New York, not necessarily win the championship, even though obviously they want to. So that all said, I just think Minnesota has been waiting now for the last month or so for this postseason to begin. I got to see a team beat them.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they've been the best team in the WNBA. I just don't like the way they've looked the last month. I think they've looked a little bit sloppy. Obviously, getting Nafisa Collier back from injury, they had to do that. But to me, what Vegas has done, it's been really remarkable, and people got to start looking at the fact how smart they were getting Jewel Lloyd to come off the bench and putting Melissa Smith into the starting lineup. It allowed them to use Jewel Lloyd in a capacity that works for her and Alyssa Smith is so much better than Kia Stokes, it's not even funny. I don't even know how Kia Stokes has a job in the WNBA right now. I'll be honest with you in regards to starting spot. She's a serviceable player, but
Coach
she
is
gets about 2 points a game.
heat. Let me ask you, Coach. Speaking of what's deserving a job, Angel Reese, is she going to be on the Chicago Sky next year?
No.
Are they going to? They're
She's
going
gone.
to like
she's gone.
Just so she doesn't play again, like she's played her last moment.
First things first. I talked to our old friend Ariel Epstein yesterday, and she made the point: who's more of a joke of a franchise, the Browns or the Sky? Now I picked the Browns because the Browns have been a joke for ever. But if you look
the Sky are the worst run organization in the WNBA.
Right now they're the worst run. But, I mean,
dude, you know what it is, Coach? Their draft. Like, no offense to Haley Van Lith, but they race draft picks. Like, their drafts are terrible.
2021, they won the title. They've been downhill since. Kalia Copper gone, Williams gone, Mabry gone. Bring in Weatherspoon. Get with Weatherspoon. And now Angel Reese. Listen, this is the first time I've heard this, and this is the craziest thing. Think about this, folks. A player was suspended for conduct detrimental to the team. Not for the game, for a half. And then at halftime, she said, guess what? I'm not playing. Angel Reese is gone, and it's probably best for everyone because all she cares about is her stats and her popularity.
Wow. I thought you were going to defend her.
Coach with the curveball.
She's
her a little bit. She says the team sucks. It does.
Guys, two things can be right at the same time.
Yes.
She is about herself, but the team
but
does.
They suck. Yeah, they're terrible.
Caitlin, and she didn't rip the players like she didn't say, Vandersloot's too old and all this type stuff. She said, we got to get better. Dude, there's a video of Caitlin Clark saying last year how Indiana needs better players.
Listen,
everything Angel says, people are going to flip about. But
so bad they make the Jets seem like a well-run organization. And I'm a Jets fan. That's bad.
I didn't say it a lot.
I think the Jets can cover against the Bills.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Like it or not, 18-year-olds dropped with a whole heck of a lot of money in there. Boy, yeah. I tell you, it changes people, Donnie, and it's a new reality that we better get used to in college football because look at the kid from UCLA, former Tennessee quarterback, making millions of dollars. You really think he cares? They got absolutely embarrassed and trounced.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe continue our conversation with the coach, James Young. So we were kind of joking in the break. So we all think, that Angel Reese is going to be traded this offseason, Coach. And I was joking with you, but I'm serious, right? The WNBA needs all the publicity it can get, right? The one team where you would think she would not land would be like the best storyline if they actually traded her to Indiana with Caitlin Clark and take the two combatants and then put them on the same team. Well, what do you think the chances of that ever happening?
Slim to none, but if you do that trade, that means that Aaliyah Boston's going to get moved the other way, right? And if you kind of think about it in regards to stylistically and fit, it's not the worst idea. To me, I look at Dallas. I look at Dallas as an interesting case, right? You look at the fact that they have Paige Beckers. If they get the number 1 draft pick and they keep it, they are not going to draft the big. They're going to draft AZ Fudd. Why are they going to draft AZ Fudd? Because of her relationship with Paige Beckers. So now they still need a pivot. And that's where I think somewhere like that Paige Beckers to play with someone like an Angel Reese does make sense. You start going through the rest of the league and, are you going to go expansion team? No, because where they're going and up in Portland.
If she was in Chicago,
she's from Maryland.
Chicago, she's going to be awful in the losing team.
Well,
she's from Maryland. So to me, the Washington Mystics make sense, but I'll throw this out there. I don't think they're going to trade her. They are an idiotic franchise,
she's going to force her way out. Gabe, the fact that this lady has not as openly, literally said in so many words, I don't want to play the rest of the year, is a spit in the face to the entire organization. Listen, you said it best before. Two things to be right at the same time, right? She should have not acted the way she did. She should have kept her comments in-house. But she's absolutely right. And one thing you could say about her, even though she acts like an idiot sometimes, she wants to win. And she's not going to win in, obviously, Chicago. Now, the good thing about Chicago is, remember, Chicago, their draft pick is traded, ready, to Minnesota, but they get Connecticut's draft pick because that was part of the deal for Marina Mabrey last year.
It sounds like the Chicago Bears, Ryan Poles, is running the Chicago Sky as well. Like the Chicago's, like, as a whole, like, it's funny because they got Connor Bedard with the Chicago Blackhawks, and that's imploded, and he's miserable there, right? Like, he's not, you know what I mean? But he can't get out because it's just tougher to get out in hockey. So you're adamant, Coach. You say this is it, huh? I'm buddies, with Robert Littell, Black Sports Online, and I saw him post earlier today, and he follows the WNBA closely, and, like, he's on top of all the gossip and that and this behind the scenes with the league. And he said, she's never playing for the Chicago Sky again. Like, never. She's played her last. So you believe that? She's played her last minutes for the Chicago Sky, huh?
She's not coming back. And you know what's sad, guys, is when you think about Chicago, like, everyone's like, oh, it's a football town. It's a big Chicago has a rich basketball tradition. And I'm not talking about Michael Jordan and playing with the Bulls. I'm talking about, you guys know, obviously, Mark McGuire and Isaiah Thomas being childhood friends from Chicago, right? You talk about Simeon High School when obviously Benji Wilson was a phenomenal player, got killed when he was young. Obviously, you look at Derrick Rose coming from Simeon. That is a legendary town when it comes to basketball. And that city has been a damn wreck since 98. They had that one little run that they had. One run with the Bulls before D. Rose got hurt, and then one little run with the Chicago Sky. And they've been damn terrible for 25 years. And by the way, shout out to Josh Giddey getting 4 for $100 million, by the way, in which he had no negotiating leverage with the Bulls. So I guess kudos to him.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. I looked up the WNBA draft.
Not in the NBA, it isn't.
Well,
$25 million a year?
Yeah, for Josh Giddey.
He wanted 30. Only 59 players make $30 million next year, guys. Hey, remember that.
I know, so he sort of tapped out. But you know what? He lost his leverage because of his, right? And I think that's kind of forgotten about now. I don't think it's a massive story. But guys, seriously, there's guys on the bench that are making $25 million in the NBA.
The issue that the NBA had is you had those three players, Cam Thomas, obviously Jonathan Kuminga, and Josh Giddey, all wanting $30 million a year or more. Here's the problem. Only the Brooklyn Nets had salary cap room, and they weren't doing anything because they want AJ Abanza. They want a tank or one of the boozers. So when you really look at it, Cam Thomas played it the best out of all of them. He took a lot less money, 1 year, $6 million, but there's 10 teams in the NBA that are under the salary cap for next year. So that's what he's banking on this year to get money next year, and God knows how bad the Brooklyn Nets are going to be. He's going to score 25 points a game.
What do you think of the Kawhi Leonard stuff, Coach? And will he end up with the Lakers, like they're saying?
I mean, listen. Listen. Why don't we just take all of them? Take Kawhi, Chris Paul, Rich Paul.
He's not ending up on the Lakers.
The story said that he wanted ownership of the Maple Leafs when he was negotiating with the Raptors.
Hey, listen.
His contract.
Hey, I don't know a lot about hockey, but that would be a good deal if you get a part ownership of the Maple Leafs. I would have negotiated that in my contract as well.
He wanted a private jet. He wanted a private jet too with the with the Ray. He asked for all kinds. His Uncle Dennis. We've known about Uncle Dennis's antics for years. But Adam Silver is the ultimate substitute teacher, guys. Softest commissioner in sport. Has no interest in the Clippers story. Like he said, we have to prove guilt, and there's nothing here really.
Here's why. They've been tampering and doing this for
everybody's
years.
doing it. That's why the other owners aren't crying.
If they expose that, they're all getting exposed. This will be
James Dolan sued the Raptors once for something really petty. Like, he'd be freaking out. Like, so you got to wonder. Like, you want to be honest? Let's look at Brunson's contract. Let's see. Let's dig into their power.
What are you doing? Pipe down there, Morency. Pipe down.
I'm just saying. You know as well as I do, Coach. Yeah. And last thing, though, Coach, how about this stupid thing with the NBA? It doesn't count as against your field goal percentage when you heave a shot at the end of the half now. That's the dumbest thing ever.
Duck at the buzzer. It's coming. Wow.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Like it or not, 18-year-olds dropped with a whole heck of a lot of money in there. Boy, I tell you, it changes people, Donnie, and it's a new reality that we better get used to in college football because look at the kid from UCLA, former Tennessee quarterback, making millions of dollars. You really think he cares? They got absolutely embarrassed and trounced.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number one. Thanks to the coach, James Young, joining us as he does every single week. We got Cam Stewart coming up in about 5 minutes. But in the meantime, how about a little Black Cloud play of the day? Yeah, nothing fancy here, folks. You know, one of my favorite sayings is don't make this stuff harder than it has to be, right? And that's the Dodgers tonight. You know, are they going to lose to Colorado? No. Not going to ask you to lay the 335 like we have in the 5 on the line. Lay the 1.5. You know, 12 of the last 14 wins against Colorado have come by 2 runs or more. We gave you the numbers. They beat the snot out of all these bad teams. You got Blake Snell, one of their better pitchers. He's got an ERA of 0.45 his last 3 outings against Colorado. Freeland is pitching, as Gabe mentioned earlier, and he's kind of up and down. He's capable. He threw those shutout baseballs last time out, but it's the Dodgers. They're at home. They got a chance to extend their lead a little bit. San Diego's playing at the same time. They're not going to lose. I'll just, like I said, I'll take my chances. They win by 2 runs or more. So Dodgers minus 150, laying a 1.5 at home against the Rockies. Can't lose tonight.
I'm on the Dodgers. We went over it earlier. In this game, minus 1.5. I'll play Ohtani to hit a home run at plus 190, and I'll play Freeland over 3.5 strikeouts at plus 115. But we've seen a pattern here, guys, of first-place teams losing, but the team that's behind them loses as well, and the standings don't move. Wild card, good example. San Francisco opened up the day 2 games back behind the New York Mets. Said these in-game overs keep cashing, Scott. Philadelphia now up 8-1. On the Mets. So it's game over for the Mets here. They're down 8-1 in the top of the 7th. So the Mets free fall continues. Blue Jays down 2-0. Last night they had some late inning magic, and they came back. I'm not sure it happens tonight, Scott. It's a 2-0 ball game right now. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. There's 2 out, but the Detroit Tigers are up on the Yankees 2-0 as well. So the Yankees are squandering an opportunity once again. So intriguing that these teams have an opportunity to gain ground, and they leave it on the field, right? You can't take anything for granted. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's like, Yogi would say deja vu all over again, right? I would go right back on the Mets. I'll start there, Gabe. I'll go right back on the Mets. We threw it out there when it was 6.5. It's 10.5 now, and you have 9 runs, and you're in the top of the 7th. So you got 2.5 full at bats left, in an 8-1 game in which I don't think the Mets are going to be using their aces out of their bullpen, and Philadelphia, for that matter, might not either. So I'll take the winnings that we have with the 6.5, and I'll plunk it down at over 10.5. I'll stay away. It is amazing. Toronto was trailing last night. Same exact thing. I'll stay away. You know what? I can't stay away. I will go conservative though, but it's a decent number. I'll take 1.5 runs with Toronto plus 182. Versus the plus
hoping that they score 1.
Yeah,
this guy,
you know what? Score 1.
This guy Alexander on the hill. This is make a mental note, everybody, moving forward for this. Houston are a weird team, right? They one night, whatever, dude. Like they nearly get no hit. Then the next game they nearly no hit you. They're all over the place, the Houston Astros. But when it's all said and done, they win more than they lose. But this Alexander pitcher on the hill for them tonight. He's up to 88 pitches right now through 7, which is pretty impressive. So he's mowing the Blue Jays down, but they've won his last 7 starts, Scott, tonight. I was aware of this coming into this ball game tonight. Barrios hasn't been great over his last couple of starts, but he pitched well enough to keep him in the game, obviously. But Alexander for the Astros, guys, they've won the last 7 times he's pitched. They've won, and they're on the verge of potentially winning his 8th last start right now.
All right. I'm going to use the fact that I don't think their closer, the Astros closer, Abreu, is available. He threw 30 pitches last night. Might be, but that's a lot of pitches. So if they don't have their closer, I'm hoping that they used a bunch of relievers last night as well. So
I know they did. But you see this often, Scott, when and Abreu got hit last night. Yep. Oftentimes the manager will go back to him the next night just so it doesn't linger in his head for a couple of days.
Right. But I'll take a flyer. That's why I'll go with the 1.5 versus the full slot. Just to throw it out there real quickly, Braves trailed 3-2 against the Cubbies. Sale finished up with 9 strikeouts. Hall of Fame game. Chris Sale, would you say he's a Hall of Famer?
No.
I would say yes, but he doesn't, believe it or not, he doesn't have the numbers, unfortunately.
That's why I just said no. He's a great pitch. He's a great pitcher, but he's been hurt a lot, and we can't put you in on potential, right? The only thing I'll say, Scott, about the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, they're going to need to redo the numbers moving forward. Like you're gonna have to accept, like there's new barometers, right?
He's got less than 150 wins, believe it or not. All right, Gabe, coming up next.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Like it or not, 18-year-olds dropped with a whole heck of a lot of money in there. Boy, I tell you, it changes people, Donnie, and it's a new reality that we better get used to in college football because look at the kid from UCLA, former Tennessee quarterback, making millions of dollars. You really think he cares? They got absolutely embarrassed and trounced.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back. It is In-Game Live, Game Day here on the Grid. Hour number 2, Scott and Gabe, as we try and get some winners with the boys in Vegas tonight. Mostly baseball, one WNBA game. That's basically over right now. So Connecticut, Atlanta was beating Connecticut pretty handily. And they win by 16. So right on the number, 88-72, the winner there. Let's bring in a guy who's got nothing but winners for us, I am sure. Mr. So what's going on, Cam? How are you tonight? No pressure on you at all.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. No, things like nothing but winners, but we'll see what happens tonight. I got to be honest with you. Like, I love to bet on every game, but I'm thinking we got NFL football, we got college football, and we got 2 golf tournaments this week. So I've been kind of spreading it around, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like usually I'm like, oh, okay. But I got to be honest with you, Scott, very light tonight. Very light.
All right. Got to play the Dodgers, right? You got to at least do that for us?
No, I don't think I have to do that. No.
Wow.
That's Gabe's territory. The thing about the Dodgers is, like, I'm looking at these guys going, do I really want to lay numbers with them? Not really. Are they going to win? Probably, but the number's a little bit too big for my liking there, guys. So I'm going to have to pass on that one.
We're going to lay the 1.5. They just absolutely own the Rockies, Cam. It's been a completely one-sided. The Rockies are 3-15 in their last 18 games. All right, like they really are stumbling down to the finish line here right now. The only thing is, if Freeland can strike guys out. I like the over 3.5 strikeouts, guys, but I will play the LA Dodgers, and me and Wetzel are a lot more confident in the Dodgers than Cam is.
Thing about it is, I think that they're a great team, but what's happening right now? We talk about San Francisco, Gabe, on the podcast. Like, these guys are kind of right there, and if you're looking at a game right now, I know the Padres have been stumbling too. I'm seeing a $1.46 like against the Reds tonight. I'd be looking at that. That's a reasonable price right now. I don't know how you guys feel about the Mariners and Cards. 7.5 total in that game. You know what? You're right. Blake Snell against Freeland. The thing about Freeland is once in a while he'll pitch a gem, but most of the time he pitches like junk. So yeah, but on my book, guys, it's -1.5, -164. That's a crazy price with the Dodgers there tonight. Crazy.
All right. So baseball's not your thing tonight. We'll start with a little NFL then. How about a little early look at tomorrow's Washington Green Bay game? 3.5 Packers at home. A little surprised it's that low. Over under 48.5.
I love the Commanders. And I told Gabe this the other night too. I looked at and that's the whole thing. And Gabe brought up a great point on the podcast. Washington showed nothing in that game against the Giants. The Giants were trying to move the ball. The defense of Washington, I know they're much maligned, but they got to Russell Wilson. They did absolutely nothing. They blanketed Neighbors, and basically the whole game, they could have won by way more than that. They showed nothing. McLaurin and Daniels will get on the same page. People saw what they're looking, Green Bay murdered Detroit, but we talked about it. There's a lot of things going on into that game, and I'm going to tell you this. I think Washington is a very dangerous team. It opened up at 4. It's 3.5, and here's the thing about Daniels. This guy, I told Gabe, third down, amazing. Like any type of situation, he could run, slip, get out of it. Everybody's going to look at Green Bay and say, what a win against Detroit. There's a lot of problems with Detroit in that game. And Washington, it was not a true reflection of how they could have murdered the Giants. So I'm going to tell you this, guys. I love 3.5 with Washington. Money line, I'm kind of leaning under. I hate to do that in these primetime games, but Gabe, you talked about it. Like these unders happen more in divisional games, but I think these defenses could both show, but I like the Washington Commanders to cover.
Interesting number, Scott, for the Washington Commanders. Last year, guys, the Commanders were 13-2 if they rushed for 100 or more yards. Now, last week, they battered the Giants on the ground and they won the football game. So they're 13-2 last year when rushing for 100 or more yards. 1-4 when not. That's sort of their key. Like Washington, they do like to run the ball. Daniels racks up rushing yards. One thing with this game is Jared Goff is not mobile, right? He's not a mobile quarterback. He's ranked like 28th, 29th in the league when you get pressure on him. And he's ranked like, number 1 in the league when you don't get pressure on him. Jaden Daniels isn't Jared Goff, Scott, right? So it's a much more challenging offense to deal with Jaden Daniels than it was with Jared Goff. But you like it sounds like you like the Packers in the game, Scott.
Yeah, I tell you, it used to be, guys, Thursday night, you automatic play on the home team, automatic. But then it did flip, and then the road team actually, I think the NFL got involved and said, listen, we can't have this. So, the road team started winning. So then the road team started winning. Listen, I give you trends. Teams after they faced Detroit last year, 6-11, straight up. Over the last 3 seasons after facing Detroit, so in essence, since they've been really good, 18-32 against the spread. That's the least profitable of any team scenario like that. So historically, recent anyway, you don't do well after you face Detroit. But that said, but a Packer numbers at home, guys, are just too good. 33-20 against the spread. As a favorite against winning teams, 30-19. Matt LaFleur, 16-3 against the spread the first 3 games of the season. Best in the NFL. Do I think Green Bay is better than Washington? Yeah, I do. It's a key game. Could they win by 3? Absolutely. Every Washington game last year seemingly came down to the end, but I don't like betting on teams I think are going to lose. So I'll take Green Bay and hope they cover the spread.
They haven't won. This is interesting, too. Washington have not won in Wisconsin at Lambeau. The last time that the Washington football team, Redskins, Washington football team, Commanders, won a football game, it was actually at Milwaukee Stadium. Remember in the 80s?
In the 80s,
the Magic Man.
Yeah. They used to split. They used to split the games. And in fact, they didn't even play at Lambeau for a couple of years. People were crazy. Like, you don't realize they actually moved back to Lambeau. But they used to split the games, and they played in the baseball stadium and Lambeau, and then finally they just went back to Lambeau again after. But Washington have not won since 1989. It was actually on the baseball field in Milwaukee. They haven't won at Lambeau since like the mid-'80s. So historically, it's been a kiss of death. And one interesting thing, too, with this game, but I don't think it matters because it's early in the season, is that the Washington Commanders are actually the oldest team in the National Football League. And the Green Bay Packers are the youngest team in the National Football League. So you would figure if any sort of quick turnaround would help a team, but it's week 2 of the season, and whatever. Washington's average age is 27 years old, and Green Bay's average age is 24. So I really don't make too much of it.
Another thing, guys, like Washington, Gabe brought a great point up on the podcast. They kept it pretty vanilla versus the Giants. When they were up multiple points in that game, it was very simple, right? And I told him, too, I saw the dynamic between Daniels and Terry McLaurin. And Terry McLaurin and him were usually money in the bank, just missing. I'm like off fingertips, just missing like touchdowns and stuff. So that score was not indicative of really how much Washington dominated the Giants in that game. Despite their Giants' great front seven, I think Washington will pose Green Bay big problems in this game with their speed. Deebo Samuel, Daniels, and Zach Ertz was an absolute beast last week. He's open all the time.
48.5, Cam. You know, we had nothing but basically unders last week. It's a big number. They're going to get to 49?
I lean under, but I'm kind of worried about all the unders last week, guys. Like, what are we going to do with this game? But I think Washington's defense is better than people think, and Green Bay's defense is phenomenal. 48.5 is a big number on a Thursday night game. But I love the Washington Commanders plus the points money line.
All right, there you go. Book it. Dan, great job as always. We'll talk to you again on Friday.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Second game live, game day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe were chatting with Mr. Cam Stewart. We didn't get a chance to get to the golf. I didn't even know there was golf. I'll be honest with you. So wrapped up in college football, NFL. I'm waiting for the Ryder Cup, which is 2 minutes down the road from me. So I'm all kind of caught up into that. Who knew? We even got all the big names spread out over 2 tournaments.
You going to go to the Ryder Cup?
Yeah, you going to
right there, Scott.
I'm trying to rent my house out. I'm trying to rent my house out for $10,000. I'll give them the wife with it. She comes with it. She'll cook and clean for you because she doesn't for me. So, yeah, I will probably take a walk down there. So, it is literally about 2 minutes down the road. So it should be a lot of fun.
It's not the Super Bowl to get in here. It's the Ryder Cup. It won't be that much.
No. Listen, I know there's standing room only seats all over the place, obviously, but no, Gabe, it's a tough ticket, and it's situated kind of in a community, and there's only one way in, one way out. Parking is going to be atrocious, so you got a bus probably to the facility. It's a whole.
I know it's a nightmare. I'm not saying it's like walking in and out of a stadium, but no, you are right. I'm seeing here right now they're selling hospitality. Basically, yeah, it's $5,000 for the 4 days.
Yeah.
Woo!
Wow! Big time. So. Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. It should be a lot of fun. So we'll take it over our town here. All right, let's start with the Pro Core Championships, in which Scotty Scheffler, Justin Thomas, Cantlay, Burns, Young, Morikawa, some big names here. Cam, where are we going?
Here's the thing about Silverado, too. It's like in Napa Valley, wine country. So a lot of these guys who play well on the California swing will play well in this tournament. And you got to look at the odds. Like, Scheffler's 2-1. Could he win? For sure. Like that. But now we're not even getting 4-1. We're getting 2-1 on this guy. So I'm going to take some guys that did pretty well getting their names on the Ryder Cup team. And it starts with Ben Griffin. Ben Griffin, to me, this guy was like selling insurance, and all of a sudden he just came out of nowhere. He's one of the best stories of the year. You're getting a nice price on him at 25-1, guys. I think he's absolutely fantastic. He does everything well. Elevation, hitting the ball straight. His iron game is pure, and his putting's great too. Jackson Koiven, we talk about like a lot of these guys in golf come out of nowhere, like Ludwig Geberg, when he came in from Texas Tech. This guy went to Auburn. He's an amateur, and he's done really, really well in his career. A lot of top 10s. And in this field, 55-1, I'm biting. And Luke Clanton has been a hipster pick for a while, but at 100-1, I got to jump on the hipster pick at 100-1 there. I'm not going to give you a 6-pack, guys, just 3, but Griffin looks good to me. Koiven's dangerous, and Luke Clanton should be like 50-1, not 100-1.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking for Koiven. I don't see him on FanDuel.
He's
55 or so to 1?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah. Right. Jackson Koiven. Got it. 55-1. All right. How about the DPW Tour, European Tour? Again, bunch of big names. McIlroy, Rahm, Fleetwood, Aberg. Where are we going here?
Gabe won with McIlroy last week. It's hard to go back-to-back. The BMW PGA Championship, take a look at these guys on page 1 of the leaderboard. All world class, like major winners. This is nuts. I can't believe how good this field is. I'm going to tell you one thing. Morency, I know you like Tommy Fleetwood at 10-1. I think that's a good price because Tommy Fleetwood got the
that's my
off
pick.
His back. It's
Tommy Fleetwood. I'm 1-0 on the DP Tour this year, guys. Hit Rory McIlroy last week, plus 450. Yeah, I'm staying on the tour here, Scott. Exactly. How's money, baby? I hit Rory last week.
Yeah.
Scott, what was my distinct handicapping skills? It's the Irish Open. Rory's going to want to win this. That was like deep as I went.
He's the only Irishman in the tournament, right?
No, but I know, but everybody was like talking about swings and this and that and their data and stuff. I was like, guys, it's Rory in the Irish Open. And he's won before. He likes winning this thing. So I'm with you though, Kim. I don't think he wins again. But I'm going to go with Tommy Fleetwood. That's just my one pick. So we'll get Can's picks. This is my one pick. Tommy Fleetwood this week, coming off the win last week.
Gabe, Tommy Fleetwood for a top 10 is like plus 105. And I think I don't use the L word in golf, but this guy, the fact that he won in North America, finally got his first win on U.S. soil, he's going to be on fire.
You can get plus 100, Cam, for top 10. That's pretty good for Tommy Fleetwood.
I found a 105, but you're right. It's 100 or plus 105. I think that's a great price. Ty Hatton, there's major BMW tournaments. There's one in Saudi Arabia, Wentworth, like they play in England. Tyrell Hatton is like literally top 5 every time they tee up in this tournament. He's 22-1. I like Gabe's pick of Fleetwood, plus 105 for a top 10. And I got another guy for you too. Here's the deal. watch out for Alex Noren. He's been playing in North America for a very long time. He's 45-1. He's almost won a lot of the time. And I'll tell you, if he can get that putter going, I think he's very, very dangerous. But Gabe's pick of Fleetwood, it would not shock me if he won again. I just wish we got a little bit more. But now Tommy Fleetwood's feeling it. And come Ryder Cup time, I'm going to be betting this guy in every single matchup. Him and Francisco Molinari, not his brother Eduardo, won all their matches before. He is a great match play player. He's going to be fired up for this week.
I'll say this, guys. There was just a video review, which you don't see a ton of in baseball. The Blue Jays just came within like a foot of tying the game. They got a runner on first. It's 2-0. Bottom of the 8th, nobody out, runner on first, and Ernie Clement just smoked one down the left field wall line, and it looked foul to me, but it literally missed hitting the net. If it hits the net, it's good. If it hits the pole, right? And they thought that it went over it, like with the depth type thing. And it took basically like 4 or 5 minutes for them to figure it out. But they said foul ball. But looks like the Jays might come back here again, guys. They got something going again.
Boy, this
What's the number right now? How many outs do we have left? So bottom of the 8th, they got
He just struck out. He just struck out.
We got 5 out. We got 5 outs left.
They're plus 450.
Yeah, plus 450. I like that. That's a good price.
Wetzel, you did the plus 1.5. That's plus 215 right now.
Yeah, I only got a plus 184. I'm surprised it's a little bit less. We're a little bit more, I guess, because as we move along here. So, well, that would have been nice. That would have been real nice. By the way, we got a couple of runs out of Philadelphia and the Mets. So the over 10.5.
9-2.
9-2. Yeah,
the Mets are Gabe. You said it. The Mets are what are you? They're gagging hard. Like they're just like. And the worse it gets, they lose again. Bats getting a little bit tighter. These guys got problems. They got to figure out how to get into the playoffs here.
Bothers me as a Dodger fan to be pulling for the Giants, but the Giants are going to get in.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. The Jays just got to – I'm telling you, this is real. Oh, I should have clicked this. So now they got first and second. They just got to hit again. First and second, 1 out.
We got a shot. I'm telling you, this is
just like last night, Scott.
Just like
the eighth hitter again, Scott. France again, the same guy.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Like it or not, 18-year-olds dropped with a whole heck of a lot of money in there. Boy, I tell you, it changes people, Donnie, and it's a new reality that we better get used to in college football because look at the kid from UCLA, former Tennessee quarterback, making millions of dollars. You really think he cares? They got absolutely embarrassed and trounced.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the Grid. Thanks for Cam joining us as he does every Wednesday and Friday. So he'll join us again in a couple of days when we go over some of the NFL stuff for this weekend. So to recap thing, Phillies tacked on another run, 10-2 over the Mets. Oh, they're getting crushed. This is game 3 of a 4-game series. Man, I tell you, if San Diego or one of those teams, I know it's not likely, Gabe, but if St. Louis or Arizona or dopey Cincinnati would just play some decent ball. We say this all the time. It gets repetitive, I know, but it's just the Mets are just leaving the door open for some team to go on a 7-1 or so streak, which I know is easier said than done, but they're there to be taken. They really are. So San Fran losing this afternoon, unfortunately, but at least it won't necessarily hurt them. They'll probably fall back to 2, right, barring some crazy comeback. So there'll be 2 back. Cincinnati, we wrote them off for dead. At least I did. They're going to be 2 back in the loss column, depending on what happens tonight. And even St. Louis, 72-74, 2 games under 500, you think are dead, right? They're 4 back.
Seattle can put the final nail in their coffin, but you're right. There's still a couple of weeks left of craziness. This is like the Kentucky Derby, Scott. I guess now, I won't use the Kentucky Derby. I just need a horse racing analogy, but this is more Belmont because it's longer, right? So, yeah, who was around the first corner and the second corner? Like, we're not even down the stretch yet, Scott. You know what I'm saying? We're not even and down the stretch they come. The stretch will be like September 23rd to the last week. Like, let's say the last 10 days where every game counts. Like you said, I've been saying it. You get hot, you get on a run. And I always say, too, Scott, I'm sure you say the same thing, like in the playoffs or with teams, whether you lose 1-0 or you lose 11-1, you lost, right? And it doesn't matter. You're a grown, we're adults. There's no, there shouldn't be feelings in this. So it's you won, you lost, you're on to the next game. But we all know that's not really the case. And if you look at the New York Mets, the way that they're losing, Scott, you know what I mean? Doesn't it sort of compound the demise in a way? It's like, not only losing every day, but we're getting killed every day. Like, we're getting murdered. It's not like, listen, we're losing, but we're losing 4-3 every day and chill out. It's going to turn around. No, the Mets are just getting killed all the time. And after they play Philadelphia again tomorrow, and then on Friday, Scott, guess who comes to town and is the starting pitcher? Jacob deGrom and the Texas Rangers. How about that for a storyline? The one time DeGrom's healthy, he's a Ranger, and he's to come back to New York and screw them.
and oh, by the way, take a look at who's playing some pretty good baseball right now. It is the Texas Rangers. Yeah. So they're not playing out the straight. All of a sudden, it's got to be a season high. 7 games over 5.
Yeah, but you know what? Are you a Seinfeld fan? Or you know the episodes of Seinfeld, Scott? But you know the episode of Seinfeld when he dates a girl who's hot sometimes and she's not, depending on the light?
yeah.
Right?
We've all gone through that, right?
In the diner, he's like, I'm in under different lighting. That's the Texas Rangers, Scott, right? Under certain lighting, it's like, whoa, these guys look like World Series contenders, right? And every time we fully buy into the Rangers, they pull the carpet out from underneath us. But as you stated, they seem to be coming down the stretch and picking up steam right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. I wrote that. I stayed with them for the longest time. I told you I had them in my preseason Dodgers versus Rangers, right? Stuck with them through thick and thin. They're going to turn it around. And finally, about 3 weeks ago, I said, that's it. I just can't do it anymore. Just, hanging around mediocrity. And now, all of a sudden, 7-3, 4 in a row. They still got a little, they still got to catch up, Seattle. But they are. Point is, they're not going to roll over for the Mets. That's for sure, especially with DeGrom pitching. And then the Mets got a 3-game set against the Padres after that. So it does ease up after those 2 series. But by 6 games from now, 7 games when you throw on 1 more against the Phillies tomorrow, man, it's not easy sweeping a team in a 4-game series. No matter how good you are, no matter how bad they are. But the Phillies are in the process of maybe doing that after they got swept by the Mets.
If you're San Francisco, they got the Dodgers this weekend. What a weekend, Scott, we have coming up. Ohtani versus Verlander on Friday night. In San Francisco, though, and this is the last time. So if you can get this out of the way. You know what I mean? You play the Dodgers, get it out of the way, and get back on track to playing the D-backs and the Rockies again in the world like we know they do the Giants.
Yeah. Just don't get swept. You just survive whatever it is heading into that series. Just
Dude, as a
sure
Dodger fan, we might get swept by them. I'm worried.
Yeah, that's true.
I better chill out about the Giants. I better worry about my Dodgers.
Here come the Blue Jays. We'll let you know what happens. We'll be back. Bye.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Like it or not, 18-year-olds dropped with a whole heck of a lot of money in there. Boy, I tell you, it changes people, Donnie, and it's a new reality that we better get used to in college football because look at the kid from UCLA, former Tennessee quarterback, making millions of dollars. You really think he cares? They got absolutely embarrassed and trounced.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back in Game 1, Game Day here on the grid. How about those Toronto Blue Jays? Wow. They come back and tie it, Gabe. 2-2.
Again, deja vu all over again. Scott, like you and I were on last night. And remember, I remember my famous last words on the way out. I said, man, if we could just get it to the top of the order. They're at the 8th hitter right now.
Right.
And they didn't end up having to, right? They ended up putting a couple of runs on, but similar situation, man. The back end of the order comes through for them. Now Lucas comes up with a big RBI. Now you got Vlad Guerrero Jr. up, 2-2 game, first and third, and there are two out. Watching the Jays as much as I do, Guerrero's probably going to strike out here right now. I'm not criticizing Guerrero. He's had a good year, but it really has been the Jays sort of role player, Scott, that have been a big, big difference for this team this year. And Guerrero grounds out. So we're going to the ninth, tied at 2. See what I'm saying? But all these other guys have good at-bats. Yeah.
Right, same as last night. It was the bottom of the order last night that did it, not the main guys. Goofy. So, all right. If you grab Toronto, as I did, I weaseled out. I didn't take them on the money line. I should have. I whipped out. I took them +1.5 because it was almost 2-1. If it was like pick 'em, I probably would have. But they were giving you almost 2-1. That's not the worst thing in the world, right? So, if you had that, you want to take Houston now at even. You can go ahead and do that. Little surprised that Toronto's not a bigger favorite at -128 since they're going to the top of the 9th inning.
We could have got it at like +400. I got it at -115 only. Is our boy Paul Bovey ready to step up and in?
No. Okay. I guess he's coming up.
We'll find out.
Yeah. Okay.
We got to get our Dodger bets in, though, still, too, if you're getting this game in, if you don't want to wait till the last minute. Dodger bet time. and Seattle. You going to parlay it again? I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah.
A Seattle LA parlay.
Yeah. They're making a number so fat. You can't bet Seattle straight. And, who would at that rate anyway? I mean, -2-1 with Seattle. Certain teams you would do that, but I wouldn't with Seattle. So I'll throw it in a parlay. Why not? It comes out almost to even -111.
Yeah, I got a -120 here. Not ideal. And you just said, too, right, the standings are whack, Scott, with this stuff. So the Reds are back in this thing, even though they lost a bunch of games. They're still in this. So this is a big game for them against San Diego right now. It just got going. They're plus 180. You get plus 180 right now in a scoreless baseball game, Scott.
With Abbott on the hill. Their best pitcher. Certainly one of the best.
Plus one. Just fell to plus 155 with an out, just like that. Man, I think the Reds are live tonight. There is a runner on. There are runners on first and second right now, though. I should note. But there's 2 out.
Now's the time to bet them, right? Because if they don't score, I'm sure that'll drop a little bit. Not a lot since there's 2 out, but it'll come down a little bit. If you think they're going to get out of the inning, now you grab them.
What was it before the game? What was it before the game?
I think it was -190 before the game.
Oh, they were that. Yeah, they were that big of favorites, huh?
Yeah.
You just can't lay that type of price with this team, especially with the Reds. And Abbott is a good pitcher.
Oh no, my bad. -150. It was -190 yesterday. -150.
I'm gonna jump in, Scott. The problem is, man, I just overheat my phone all the time. Too much betting, right? It's just on the phone all day. My phone's charging right now. I got to reach over to get it. I had that little panic, you know what I mean? When I wanted to get the Blue Jay bet in, I got a worse number. I went to bet it and my phone was dead. But fortunately, when I plugged it in, it turned on right away, which it doesn't always. But yeah, I got a phone charging problem, Wetzel. Like I got to correct this moving forward as a gambling man.
Yeah, you can't have that if you go by the phone. So you definitely can't do that. I will put the baseball aside here for a second. We'll keep an eye on it, obviously. Let's talk a little football. Paul Bovey joined us now here on the grid. Paul, Scott, and Gabe, how are you tonight, bud?
I'm doing all right, guys. Gabe, you've had a phone problem since, what, 1909? I mean,
since cell phones were invented.
Gabe, you are running at a 6% rate as far as responding to text messages. I've broken it down. It's somewhere between 6 to 8%. So maybe I shortchanged you there a little bit.
I'm online a lot though, so you know where to find me. Yeah, that's a good point too. I just miss the old days. A lot of these sports books don't let me bet on a computer. Like it says, no, you're not in a this or that, and I'm sitting on a phone right beside the computer, Scott, and I'm betting at the same book because they can't, the VPN stuff, you can dodge them, and they know this. The cell phones, it's very difficult to dodge them. So some sports books, by law, I think they were, you know what I mean, only phone only because people are going to be betting from all over the place with VPNs. So it's very frustrating for me. Like, you know, like the old school offshores and all that, you can click away and stuff. But a lot of these new books, you've got to bet on your phone, just point blank. But I will admit the problem, Bovey. I do have a cell phone issue. There's no disputing that. But that's another story.
Let me ask you a question. Do you still carry a flip phone? That's what I want to know.
I would if I could. I like the flip phones. Yeah,
they're back in style.
The razor,
right?
yeah, exactly. You know,
all right, okay.
Yeah.
Fit right in the pocket, no problem.
Right. I like the old flip phones. Paul Bowlby from VegasInsider.com. All right, so let's talk a little NFL, Paul, tomorrow. Green Bay and Washington. I think Gabe's kind of leaning towards Washington. I'm leaning towards Green Bay. Where are you going with this one?
I don't have a strong play, but I am leaning to the Packers. I watched them. They looked pretty good on offense. Of course, they shut down the Lions. How much of that had to do with the change of coordinator, we don't know, but certainly they did contain the Lion wide receivers who totaled less than 100 yards. In fact, St. Brown only had 45, and then there were dribs and drabs amongst the other 3 or 4. But Washington, I feel, they're a little overhyped right now based on that win over the Giants, which I didn't favor the Giants going in just because they had offensive line issues, the same problems they've had that's plagued them for the last couple of years. And then Andrew Thomas is out at left tackle, and Russell Wilson, he couldn't get it done. He did get some balls to the wideouts, neighbors. I think he caught around 70 yards worth of balls, but still, the Giants are not clicking. I was not on all cylinders. They're clicking on maybe one or two, and that's it offensively. So I'm going to lean to the Packers here. He was spreading the ball around in the first quarter. I believe he completed the ball to 7 different receivers. So I like what Jordan Love is doing. I think they just need to grease the machine a little bit, and they'll get it going full blast.
Any opinion on the total? It's a high number this early in the season of 48.5. Obviously, we was 12-4 to the under in week 1. I saw something, guys, interesting, that when it's an extremely low week scoring one, people expect to bounce back in week 2, but it doesn't happen. And I think I think it opens up in like week 3, maybe week 4 type of deal. But 48.5, Paul, for a Thursday nighter, short week this early in the season. What's your take on the total?
I don't have one because, as I just pointed out, I watched Green Bay, and I just it wasn't fully in sync. And in order to play a total like that and pretty much need to get into the 50s, I want to see the offense in full gear, and I didn't see that from them. It was good, but it wasn't great.
Yeah. Overs not necessarily dominated last year. 150, I have 150, 125, and 1 to the over. The year before, I know it cited a little bit more towards the under. I thought that, Paul, just in general, and we'll break down some more games after the break, but I was a little surprised we didn't have that much scoring last week with the new kickoff rules and basically giving these teams the ball at their own 35-yard line.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I thought it would be better. Certainly the Bengals, you figure the number surged from 45 to 48. Didn't get there. Really didn't get close. Tennessee, I thought it would get there. Didn't. A lot of drop balls. So
Coon cost us the over in the Atlanta game. If he makes that field goal, it goes over.
Yeah. Trump and Paul Bowlby, VegasInsider.com. We'll get some more thoughts from them when we come back.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Like it or not, 18-year-olds dropped with a whole heck of a lot of money in there. Boy, yeah. I tell you, it changes people, Donnie, and it's a new reality that we better get used to in college football because look at the kid from UCLA, former Tennessee quarterback, making millions of dollars. You really think he cares? They got absolutely embarrassed and trounced.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Talking some football, Paul Bovey, VegasInsider.com, Scott and Gabe, hour number 2. So let's run down a couple more games, Paul, if you don't mind. NFL on Sunday. How about the Jetsies? You know, a lot of games last week kind of made you think like, okay, maybe this isn't what we thought it would be. Jets, I know, lost, but they put 32 points on the board against what we all think is a halfway decent defense in Pittsburgh. They're taking on Buffalo. Obviously, a huge letdown spot for the Bills, kind of a championship game for the Jets. How do you see this one playing out?
I'm not a Jet fan, Scott, but I got to tell you, I really feel for these people. Like my accountant, he's a Jet fan. Yeah, and that's a tough game to lose, man. They shredded the Steelers on the ground. I'm not going to say they shredded them through the air. Justin Fields was only 16 to 22 for 150, but they controlled the Steelers where it counted, and that was up front. And they still couldn't get the win, in large part due to a late fumble on the kickoff. But this is a game I played at the outset. I played at the open. Why? I saw value in the number, and I also like the play. The Jets, Buffalo Bills opened up at 44.5 on the total. The Bills, and we all witnessed that on Sunday night. I was on the wrong side of it, but they gave up 10 yards of play to the Baltimore Ravens. That's no fluke. That's 10 yards of play. This defense, sorry, Gabe, is raising a lot of questions right now, and the Jets offense really looked energized. So I'm looking at this game, and I say 44.5 is great value. It surged to 46.5. I still think it'll get there, but obviously I don't like it as much at 46.5 than I did on the open.
No, the Bills winning the game and Josh Allen coming back and Harbaugh blowing another double-digit lead can't erase the Bills' failure to stop the run, guys. And the New York Jets should be able to run the ball down their throat. I think there'll be points because Buffalo can score on anybody, but I don't disagree with that. And I wasn't overly impressed, Paul, with the Bills at all. I mean, it was a lucky win. We dodged the bullet. It is what it is. But they got to tighten things up. And they've had they've had run issues for years with McDermott. They just have. They don't have linebackers. They have a good D-line. They can get to the quarterback, but they're kind of undersized. You can bully the Bills a bit, and they have problems stopping the run. A game I wanted to throw at you, Paul, was the Sunday nighter, the Atlanta Falcons and the Minnesota Vikings. You look at week one, obviously the offenses aren't going to be right there, but Koo misses the kick. They would have got to 23. They could have scored more in overtime potentially after. You look at the Minnesota Vikings, how things started to click as the game went on for J.J. McCarthy. Now they're playing, indoors. You have a rematch of the national championship quarterback matchup of Penix versus McCarthy. I think McCarthy is fine at quarterback. I don't think they're going to hold him back as far as, the playbook is concerned. And don't look now, guys, but Minnesota's got a ground game suddenly, it looks like. I think there's points in this game, Paul, but it was 45, and it came down half a point. But I like the over, but it was 45, 44.5 now. What's your take on that one?
I actually would agree with you, especially if Van Ginkel and Cashman do not play. They did not practice today. And these guys, I think they total around 15 sacks last year. Vikings had 49 total, I believe. So that's 33% or thereabouts of their sack production. So I think that should lend to some Falcon scoring. They were without a receiver last week. I'd like to see the status of that. But I'm going to take a wait-and-see attitude. Just like I did on Monday night, I took a wait-and-see attitude with the Bears because they had two secondary guys out and because they were scratched 90 minutes before the game. I went over. So this is a game where if those two are scratched, I will definitely be over the number because their pass rush is going to be weakened. The linebacker core will be weakened, and Atlanta should be able to get their running game off as well.
As a Dolphin fan, I can tell you, I don't think there's a more disgruntled fan base this week. We're already calling for the ouster of the head coach. Yeah, I mean, they've covered 9 straight, Paul, against New England, and I think most of those are actual wins as well. So I'll double-check on that. But laying only 1.5 points at home to the New England Patriots, what do we do with that one?
Well, I already took this game in a teaser. I felt the Patriots over that 7-point threshold was a pretty safe play given the gravity of the Dolphins' ineptitude on Sunday, and it was bad. Look, they only had a shade over 200 yards of offense, and 50% of that came on the last two drives when the game was way out of hand. So you look at the scoreboard and you say 33-8. Was it really that bad? It was actually worse. Daniel Jones, 200 yards of passing in the first half. Overall, 22 of 27, 279. He carved up the defense. They had lost 2 offensive linemen to the Minnesota Vikings, so protection wasn't a given here, but he got enough of it to do the damage. And the Dolphins, in terms of pass protection, it's not happening. The secondary, Storm Duck was back there. He's not very good, and now he did not practice today, along with another DB. So you wonder how bad can it get for the Miami Dolphins? How did New England look against the Raiders? At times they looked pretty good, and at times they looked like they needed work. But compared to the Miami Dolphins, they're light years ahead. So if I were playing straight, I'm playing New England, but a teaser is where it's at.
All right. Moment of truth for Kansas City. Got about 30 seconds. Are the Chiefs going to fall to 0-2, hosting Philadelphia, getting 1.5? Home dogs. How about that?
They didn't look very good. If they get their receiver back, if Worthy's back in the game, I think they got a good shot. I think Philly, maybe a little overhyped. Lose those 2 guys in the secondary. CJ, they lose CJ. They lose Slay. And I think there's going to be a period of adjustment because of that. And I think Kansas City has a shot here. And I would lean Chiefs if they get their star receiver back in the lineup.
He did not practice today, for the record.
Wow. Paul, great job, man. Check out all the work and check out the great website, VegasInsider.com. Thanks, Paul.
Take care.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Like it or not, 18-year-olds dropped with a whole heck of a lot of money in there. Boy, I tell you, it changes people, Donnie, and it's a new reality that we better get used to in college football because look at the kid from UCLA, former Tennessee quarterback, making millions of dollars. You really think he cares? They got absolutely embarrassed and trounced.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the Grid. Again, thanks, Paul Bovey. Check out all his picks, VegasInsider.com, if you want some more selections from him. So should be a list. It's Wednesday, right? And that's when, for me anyway, this is when it's like, okay, NFL now. You're a day away from Thursday, and now you start doing all the trends and all the analyzing, and some interesting lines this week. Pittsburgh only a 3-point favorite against Seattle and Sam Darnold. Is Sam Darnold going to beat Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh? I don't think so. The Dolphin one. Cincinnati's only a 3.5 point. I know they didn't play great against the Browns, but, the only 3.5 point home favorite over Jacksonville, which, I didn't even watch a lot of that game because it was an hour and a half interruption, to be honest with you. San Fran, I know it's Mac Jones, but they're going to basically lose to the Saints as only 3-point road favorites.
All the way down to 3.
Mac Jones. Yeah, 3. That's crazy.
Yeah, I've never been a big Mac Jones guy before, Scott, but down to 3, I'm starting to pay attention to this. You know what, an intriguing one? Obviously, you got Philadelphia, KC. We talked about the Sunday Nighter a bit, which should be a fun one, but Denver and Indianapolis. Dude, Denver were 2.5 earlier in the week. It's down to 1.5 right now. So who would have thought, Scott? That's how, quickly, when people talk about strength of schedule and all this type of stuff, in the offseason, if I would have told you 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I'll give you Denver as a pick 'em on the road at Indianapolis in week 2, you would have jumped.
Right?
It's amazing. Now the game's a pick 'em. Denver didn't look great against Tennessee. They didn't cover, barely by half a point, etc. Indianapolis shreds the Miami Dolphins apart. And suddenly we got to pick them here with a team that somebody thought, a lot of people thought were going to be terrible in the Colts and the Broncos. This is a test for the Broncos. We'll see if the Broncos are all that and they're going to compete for the division title. They got to win this game. And I'll tell you what, Scott, the Monday Nighters are cool, but that back end, that West Coast Monday Nighter, the Raiders and Chargers, both at 1-0. The winner of this game is going to be 2-0. And I'm liking the Raiders, as crazy as it sounds right now. And I was on the Chargers against the Chiefs, but I lean Raiders in this football game on Monday Night Football. I love that hook at 3.5 right now. It's going to be a close game.
Yeah.
It's not the same old Raiders,
Smith.
Man. Pete Carroll, Geno Smith, Ashton Genty, Max Crosby. They got players and vets. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they're not a clown show.
Yeah. I mean, listen, they were so bad, and then they were a clown show for so long, right, that they signed up for purgatory. But, there's positives about purgatory, and the positive is that Geno is a halfway decent quarterback. Is he really ever going to win a Super Bowl? Probably not, right? But he's better than the average quarterback. That's why I loved him last week against New England. He's capable of coming up with a big performance and beating the Chargers. So
Brock
I'm not
Bowers'
sure who I'm
injury is concerning. We got to keep our eye on that. Brock Bowers got injured. They said it's not serious. It's like a day-to-day, week-to-week type, you know what I mean? I think he's playing. I haven't heard, Brock Bowers isn't playing for sure type of deal, but keep your eye on the Brock Bowers situation.
Yeah. The Denver one, that's like the perfect storm, right? Denver at home last week looked horrible against a bad Tennessee team.
Overhyped,
and then
overpriced.
Right. And then Indianapolis, which, should be a mediocre team, looked as good as you could look against the Dolphins, which is why I think, probably Denver kind of raises its performance a little bit. The Colts playing for Jim Irsay and everything else. There's a lot of emotion in that game last week. I got a feeling they come down to the pack. But I'm curious to see with Pittsburgh and Aaron Rodgers. Can they duplicate a lot of emotion in that game going back to New York? Boy, and he made no bones about that game. He's talking about how he loved the fact he beat the Jets. I mean, he is soaking this up for everything. Can they get kind of back on,
such a class
track
act
of things? I know. What a nice guy, right?
He said, I'm glad I beat everybody associated with the Jets. Dude, they bent over backwards for you. You did nothing for them. They paid you a bunch of money. What do you want? Yeah. They hired your buddies. What's your beef against the Jets? That a new coach came in and didn't want you? That's Aaron Rodgers, though, Scott, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, should be a great week. Gabe and I will be here all night for tomorrow's Washington-Green Bay game. So, we got
fun
Cardinals
games Friday, Scott, college, too, huh? We got K-State, Arizona. We got Houston, Colorado. We got some games on Friday. UCLA, New Mexico.
Yeah. See, Colorado and Dion made a quarterback change already.
The third stringer gets the call.
The third, yeah, not even a second. The third stringer gets the call. They got trouble in Colorado. They got to beat Houston, though, right? And they're actually getting 4.5 points. Wow. So, all right, Dodgers.
I like the Cougars.
Laying a run and a half. Yeah, we'll talk about it tomorrow for sure, folks. In-game live, game day. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or